Okay. Hare Krishna devotees. So I welcome you all to today's 13th chapter. This 13th chapter is little difficult. People find it difficult to the 13th chapter little bit difficult because many terms are there. Okay? So I'll try to make the chapter a little bit easy, okay, so that you can understand the terms and you can easily read out the chapter, understand the things which is there. So actually we are starting now the Gyan Yoga chapters. The Bhakti Yoga chapters officially finished today. Okay? So we are now starting the Gyan Yoga chapter. So let's see. Let's start with Guru Pranam mantra. Om Ajnana-Timirandhasya Jnana-Anjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Kamalam Shri Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Sahutam Parijan Saitam Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamcha Naam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Satarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the teachings is based on the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We pay our humble obeisances unto His lotus feet and beg for His mercy so that His teachings of Bhagavad Gita we can apply in our life. So actually the Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. When we started chapter 1, we discussed that it is divided into 3 sections. The first 6 chapters are called Karma Yoga. The middle 6 chapter is the Bhakti Yoga and last 6 chapter is the Jnana Yoga. Okay. So actually we have finished the 2 sections, only 1 section is left. Okay? The first 6 sections we were dealing with confidential knowledge, where the body and soul distinction we have read. Then about the karma we have read, the akarma, vikarma and the karma, 3 types of karma, different types of yoga ladder we have read, how to please Lord we have read. Okay, so these things we have read in chapter number 1. The main thing is confidential knowledge we have learned, soul and body distinction. When we go to 7 to 12 chapter, 2 more knowledge, that is more confidential and most confidential knowledge. So more confidential knowledge was knowledge of devotional service, but most confidential knowledge is pure devotional service and how Krishna reciprocates to that pure devotional service. So more confidential knowledge was 7 and 8 chapter. The most confidential knowledge was 9 to 10 chapter. And then we come to 13 to 18 chapter, the last section, that is the Jnana Yoga section. And we'll learn that is what is the perfection of Jnana. After attaining the Jnana, actually we have learned Bahunam Janma Namante Jnanvan Mam Prapadante. After taking many birth, Jnani, okay, what he does is he surrenders to Krishna. After attaining many birth. So perfection of Jnana is to do devotion only. So that is the thing. So actually you see, every chapter focuses on one thing only, that is the Bhakti Yoga. Okay.
Saranya Mataji will be co-host. She is there. She actually was there present. She left and she's coming back. You can make her co-host. Can you see? Saranya Mataji.
Done, Prabhu. Done, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay. So this section is the final thing is Bhakti. If the first 6 chapters, Krishna will be talking about different yoga, but at last Krishna will say Bhakti Yoga is best. 7 to 12 chapter, what to speak, only Bhakti Yoga speaking. And last 8 to 8 also, Krishna will speak about the Bhakti. He'll be dealing with the Jnana, but ultimately he will be dealing is the Bhakti only. So you see, bhakti is emphasized everywhere, everywhere from starting to ending of Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti is emphasized everywhere. Okay, that is the main thing, the main crux. What is the main jewel? We have understood this with a example of jewel box. Upper covering is there, lower covering is there. These are like karma yoga and jnana yoga. But the middle portion is the bhakti yoga, is the diamond. Real diamond is hidden in the middle. Okay, so that is the bhakti yoga, is the essence. Okay, that we have learned. So in the chapter number 12, let's summarize what we have learned. We have started with the Godhead part. Whom to worship? Whether we should worship the opulent, unmanifested, pervading everywhere form, or we should worship the two-handed form, which is there very dear to me, which is very dear to me in front of me, whom we should worship. Krishna says that worshipping of unmanifested is very painful path. Okay, and to progress in that path is very difficult for an embodied being like us. Okay, and bhakti is very simple, very easy. Okay, that we have learned in first part, the Godhead part. Second part, Krishna gave options to perform different types of bhakti. So what we have learned from starting to ending, from up to down, first we have learned is pure devotional service. Pure devotional service. Fix your mind and intelligence as Krishna. That is pure devotional service. Second thing was follow the regulative principles of bhakti yoga. Okay. And then third was work for Krishna. Fourth was give up the results of your hard work. Okay. And then was the Gyan yoga, the Dhyan yoga, and then last was the Gyan yoga. Okay. So that options we have, different options we have. Then last we have devotee disposition. Which type of devotees are very dear to Krishna? The many qualities of devotee we have learned. And at last Krishna says, which type of devotee is very dear to Krishna? Krishna says a person who is undisturbed by the dualities of external existence of this material world and who is making Krishna as goal of his life. That devotee is very dear to Krishna. Very dear to Krishna. Okay, so that is the thing we have learned yesterday in the Bhakti Yoga chapter. Actually, in Bhakti Yoga chapter, is very close to my heart. 8th chapter, the 12th chapter, very close to my heart. A very nice chapter. How to perform Bhakti, Krishna tells. Okay, many options are there. We cannot tell Krishna now, no, Krishna, we cannot do this thing. If we are not able to do this, Krishna is giving other option. So there is no excuse for us for not performing the bhakti. Okay, so that is the thing. So now 13th chapter, the nature, enjoyer, and the consciousness. Kshetra, Kshetragya, Vibhag Yoga. Okay, so it starts with a wise question. Arjuna is again asking a question, and Krishna will be answering. Then items of the knowledge. Jnana Yoga chapter starting. So items of the knowledge. Then soul and super soul distinction is there, and last enjoyer and the Jnana Chakshu. So the mnemonic is wise. Okay, the wise mnemonic. So we'll start. A wise question. So we start with a wise question. So Arjuna once again start with a question. So Arjuna is starting with a question. Arjuna is asking many questions in this one sloka. Arjuna is asking 13.1. Arjuna Uvacha. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyam Evacha Etad Veditum Ekshami Jnanam Gyayam Cha Keshava. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about the Prakriti, Purusha, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of the knowledge." So actually, you see, 6 questions have been put forward by Arjuna in this sloka. So what is that question? We have made a tabular form so that we can easily understand what question Arjuna asked and how Krishna is answering. The first question is what is Prakriti? Okay, Prakriti, everyone knows what is Prakriti. This material nature is Prakriti. And what is Purusha? Third is what is Kshetra and what is Kshetragya. Kshetragya means knower of the Kshetra. It's called Kshetragya. And what is Jnanam and what is Gayam. Okay, these are the 6 questions and these are the answers by Krishna. Answers are also included in this slide. So let's understand this slide. Okay, so first is what is Prakriti. This material nature which is changing every time, everywhere. Every time it is changing. It is not constant. It is not fixed. It is changing every time. That is called material nature. Okay, so that is the material nature. Ever changing material nature is called Prakriti. That is the answer by Krishna. Ever changing, every time it is changing. Then second is Purusha. Purusha are the Jiva who is trying to enjoy this Prakriti. Okay, who is trying to enjoy this Prakriti is called Jiva. But there is one Param Purusha also. Param Purusha, who is Param Purusha? Krishna is Param Purusha. Okay, he is enjoyer of everything, whether Prakriti, whether Jiva, everything enjoy. That's why Param Purusha. Okay, and Jiva is called Purusha because he is trying to enjoy the Prakriti. Then third is Chaitra. Chaitra means a place where work is being done. Okay, and Kshetragya is the knower of the Kshetra. Okay, so this body or this Sariram is called Kshetra because work is being done in this body only. Okay, the soul and the soul is doing work from where? The body only. Okay? So you see the Kshetra, this body is called Shariram, is called Kshetra. So Kshetra means this body or this Shariram is called Kshetra. And Kshetragya. Kshetragya means who is the knower of this body? So obviously soul is there inside. So soul is the knower of this body. Okay. But one more knower is there. And that one more knower is super soul. Okay. So the soul and super soul both are the knower of the Kshetragya. Okay. Like this example, you understand all the things. This is a field. Okay. This is a field. And this field belongs to the farmer. You see, farmer knows only about his field. So this field is the Kshetra, and this farmer is like the soul of this Kshetra who knows only about this Kshetra, this body. But this field belongs also to the king of the kingdom. Okay, so king knows about all the field in his kingdom. King not only know about one field, he knows about every other field, every other kshetra which is there in the kingdom. Okay. The farmer knows just about his field, but king knows about every other field which is there in the kshetra or the kingdom. Okay. So this farmer represents the soul and the king represents the super soul, which knows about every other body. Okay. So the soul knows just about his body, but supreme soul, the super soul knows every other body. Okay. So that is the Kshetra and Kshetragya. Then what is Jnanam? Jnanam is understanding the Kshetra and Kshetragya. These two, understanding of these two is called Jnanam. And the goal of knowledge, that is the Paramatma. Okay, that is called Gayam, goal of knowledge. So what is Prakriti? This ever-changing material nature. What is Purusha? The Jiva who are enjoying the Prakriti. Kshetra is the body. Kshetragya is the soul and super soul. Jnanam is the Kshetra and Kshetragya understanding. And Gayam is the goal of knowledge, that is Paramatma. Okay. So this house is there. One house, if you take the example, this house is there. This house belongs to the owner of this house. If we go to that house and we are staying for a few days, that doesn't mean that the house belongs to us. Okay, actually this house belongs to the owner of this house. So Krishna is the owner. Okay, Krishna is the super owner of this body. Okay, and we are also owner, but little bit small owners like that. So how state is being built, how state is being made. Okay? So there are actually 24 material elements are there which is making the Kshetra. Okay? This slide seems to be very busy because 24 elements are being described here. But be with me, I'll try to simplify these 24 elements. Okay. So actually, this material nature is built of 24 elements that is being described in this slide. What is the 24 elements? The 5 great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind, the 5 sense objects: desire, hatred, happiness, distress, and the aggregate, the life, symptoms, and convictions. All these considered in summary to be the field of activity and its interactions. Very busy seems to be. Yes. So let's slowly go and we'll see what are the 24 elements. The first table, first row. 5 gross elements. Already you know there are 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The 5 elements, everyone knows that there are 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, ether. So that is the gross element of the material building. Okay. Then there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses are there. Gyanendriyas are also there. So already you know that horses example, 5 horses. So these are the 5 horses: eyes, nose, ear, tongue, and skin. So these are knowledge acquiring senses. These are also making the 5 of the material elements. Then the 5 working senses are there. Knowledge acquiring senses are there. Then senses which are working. So which senses are working? This voice is the knowledge working senses. This hand and legs are working senses. Then anus and genitalia. These are called working senses. So 5 working senses are also there. So actually we saw 15 elements. Then after that, there are object of senses are also there. Like eyes is there. What is the object for the eye? Any form is there. Any beautiful form is there. That is called the object of the eye. Okay. So if you see eye, for the eye, all of senses is the form. For nose, what is the object? The smell. Any smell is there, that is called the object of the senses for the nose. So you see, for nose, object of the senses smell. Ear, what is the object? Any sound. So for ear, sound is the object of the senses. For tongue, what is the object? Any tasty thing is there, any taste is there, that is called the object of the tongue. So you see, for tongue, taste is the object. And for skin, any touch, anyone is touching me, anything touching me. Okay. So that is called the sense of object for the skin. So actually you see 20 elements you remember now. 5 are the gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. 5 are the knowledge acquiring senses: eye, 2 eyes, nose, then tongue, ear. 5 knowledge acquiring senses have object of the senses also, like form, smell, sound, touch, and taste. And then 5 working senses are there. This voice is there, then hand, legs are there, anus and genitalia is there. So actually these are 20 elements. What are 4 more elements are? The mind, intelligence, and false ego. Mind, intelligence, and false ego, you see these are the subtle elements. And one is called unmanifested. Pradhan, when we read the Goloka chart, there we have read that is the Pradhan, which comes from the pores of the Karnodaksha Vishnu. When Karnodaksha Vishnu inhales from the pores, many small like eggs are coming out, and that is called the Pradhan, unmanifested. Okay, when jivas enter into that Pradhan, that become manifested. Okay, so that is the thing. So unmanifested, there is no movement, nothing is there, that is called unmanifested. When jiva enters, movement starts. Okay, like that. So that is called manifested. So actually you see there are 24 elements are there. Okay, so again we'll revise from this slide 24 material elements and their interaction. So gross element: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Knowledge acquiring senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and touch. Working senses: voice, leg, hand, anal, and genitalia. Then object of the senses: form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And then 3 are the subtle element: mind, intelligence, and false ego. The next is Pradhan, unmanifested. Okay, so these are 24 elements. And what is the interaction of all these 24 elements? So these are the result of interaction of these 24 elements. What are the result? Pleasure, pain, desire, hatred. Okay, so these are the interaction of 24 elements. When 24 elements interact, these are the result: pleasure, pain, desire, hatred. Okay, and other than that, these material elements, there are spiritual elements also. What are those? The spirit soul and the super soul. 26 elements are there total in our body. Okay, so these are the things. So items of knowledge, the second part we are going to see items of knowledge. Arjuna again pondered, how do I cultivate this knowledge? So many knowledge is there, 24 elements, material knowledge there. The Gyan is there, the knowledge about the Gyan and Gayam is there. How to cultivate this knowledge? What is knowledge? How to cultivate the knowledge is, how do we cultivate this knowledge? Proper mood. Our mood should be there. Faithful mood should be there. Surrender mood should be there. Non-envious mood should be there. Okay. So mood should be surrender, faithful mood, personal character and practical behavior. Whatever we are learning, we should practically apply in our life. Then we can understand. Okay. So that is the how we can understand is mood. Our mood should be of surrender, faith, and practical. We should apply whatever we are learning in our life. That is called practical behavior. With this, we will be able to develop the divine qualities, the quality which is discussed in Bhagavad Gita, the qualities which we require to surrender ourselves to the Supreme. So now let's see what are the divine qualities of the item and how we can cultivate them. Krishna is describing the items of the knowledge, what we should cultivate. So, Gyan and Gayam. So this is the Gyan part, the items of the knowledge. So the Gyan was to understand about the Gyan and Gayam, the Kshetra and Kshetragyam. Okay, to understand about the Kshetra and Kshetragya was called Jnana. And Jnana has 20 elements, 20 items. So these are the 20 items of the Jnana. Other than that, Krishna says, whatever knowledge there, that is Ajnana. That is not Jnana. Okay. So you see, 20 things are described like humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, accepting a spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of sense objects, absence of false ego, perception of evil of birth, death, disease, and old age, detachment, no entanglement with wife, children, etc., even-mindedness, unalloyed devotional service, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from general masses, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. So many busy days. So that's why this chapter is a little bit difficult, because 24 elements just now we have. Now Krishna is giving 20 items of knowledge. And if you see the Bhagavad Gita and purpose given by Prabhupada, Prabhupada described each item. Okay. Each item. It won't be possible to describe each item now. But the thing is, 2 items are very important. Okay. 2 items. So these items we should cultivate. These are the things which should be striving for. And every item is important. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity. Everything is important. And these we should cultivate. But the thing is, 2 very important things are there in these 20 elements. And that is unalloyed devotional service. We have understood in the previous chapter that unalloyed devotional service is the perfect, most 12th chapter. If you see, the most important option of Bhakti Yoga is unalloyed devotional service, fixing the mind and intelligence in Krishna. Ananya Bhakti. That was the thing. This is the most important thing we should cultivate. When we cultivate this, every other item will be there in us, inside us. When we try to approach Krishna, we hear about Krishna from the devotee, we read about Krishna, we become attracted to Krishna and his qualities, his qualities, little bit we also acquire. Krishna is the source of every other quality. So that's why we also acquire these qualities. So that's why this is the most important thing, unalloyed devotional service. If we have this, every item will develop. But one more thing, I told 2 items. This is the one item. Which is the other item? Other item is just in front of him. Okay. How we can develop the unalloyed devotional service? To develop that unalloyed devotional service, we need to have this item, that is accepting a spiritual master. Without learning from a spiritual master, we cannot have unalloyed devotional service. With whom we'll hear about the Lord? From whom we'll hear about the Lord? Spiritual master. So we should be faithfully, we should be by surrendered mood, we should be surrendered to the spiritual master and should be hearing from the spiritual master about Krishna and how to perform the unalloyed devotional service. Okay. And whatever instruction the spiritual master gives to engage us in the devotional service, we should accept that, and we should be sevaya, means we should serve that. Okay. So that is the thing. So 2 important things, unalloyed devotional service and accepting the spiritual master, the most important item of the knowledge. Okay. If you want to read about these things more, you can open the Veda base online and you can read. Okay. If you don't know where it is, I'll tell you in the last, just remind me after the class ends, so that I'll tell you. Or if you have the book, you can open the book and read the purport. The book should be Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. So because there will be in the purpose, Prabhupada describes all the items. Go through all the item and try to learn. Now there is very beautiful story of Jiva in this material world. Actually, we are suffering in this material world. I told you earlier that how we are suffering in this material world is described later. So this picture describe our suffering in this material world, and I'll try to make you understand by story. This picture understand within story. Okay, let's the story about Jiva in this material world. So actually, there was a person who was going through a jungle. Okay, now there is no jungle. Very less jungle are there. If there is jungle, there is no animals. The forest animals very less. Okay, so so person was going through the jungle. Okay, and wait. Okay. So we'll hear the story now. So one person was there, he was going through the jungle. Okay. So when he was going through the jungle, he saw one mad elephant is there who is behind the person. So the person started running. The mad elephant also running behind the person. Okay. So the person saw that there is a tree. Okay. So he climbed the tree. The mad elephant. So after that, climbing the tree, he hold one branch of the tree and he hang himself because the elephant was very near. So he hanged himself on a tree, on the branch of a tree. Okay. So he thought that maybe the elephant will leave, then I'll come back again and then I'll go. I'll continue my path. Okay. Like that he was thinking. But mad elephant was there only. Okay. He was staying there only. He was waiting for the person to come. So this person, so that was a very big problem, that mad elephant is not leaving. See this picture, the mad elephant is there, is there only, and the person is hanging himself on the branch of the tree. But he saw that the branch on which he was holding, there are two mice are there. Two mouses were there, and they were cutting the branch. They were chewing the branch. Okay. Oh, that is very dangerous. I'm holding this branch only, and they're cutting. They're biting. They're cutting the branch only. Okay. So the turn by turn, these mice were cutting down the branches. Okay. One mice was white and one was black, like that. And then after that, he just saw that just beneath that person, there was a well. The dark well was there, full of snakes. Okay, so even if he falls there, he will be falling in the well, and the snakes will be biting him. Okay, that is another big problem. Okay, so it's a full problem. Then he saw the small bees are there. They are coming and biting the person. Full of problem. Okay. Snakes are there. The well is there. Dark well is there. Then the mice are there. Then the honeybees also came. The elephant is still there only. So this person is full of problem. He was thinking how to get out of this problem. Okay. Then he saw there is Supreme Lord also is there. Okay. Supreme Lord has come and he is giving the hand to that person so that that person can hold the hand of Supreme Lord and come to Krishna. Like that. That person was very happy that Supreme Lord is there. But just at that time, he saw something, some sweet things came to his tongue. Okay. So he tasted, very tasty. That is very tasty. Then he just saw that just above him, there were honey hives were there. Okay, beehives. That is beehives from there, drop by drop, honey were dropping, and they were just coming on the tip of the tongue of that person. Okay, so the person forgot all the problem. The person forgot all the problem and started licking the honey. Okay, that is the story of ours. Okay, can you correlate the story? Can you correlate the story with ourselves? What Anything you understood from the story? You can raise hands so that I can unmute and you can tell what you have understood from the story, or you can put in the chat box. Yes, any person who wants to contribute? What you have understood? Can you correlate this story with ourselves? What you have understood? You can unmute and we can raise hands so that I can unmute you. Okay. चंदा माता जी saying जीवा माया में फंसकर भगवान को भूल गया. Okay. जीव माया में फंसकर भगवान को भूल गया. अरे चंदा माता जी saying. Any other person saying anything? For the temporary happiness, pleasure, we forget the main destination, the Supreme Lord. Okay, so I'll tell you. One more answer is there. Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, I'll tell. So see, in this material world, this is the condition of Jiva in this material world. We are full of problems. We are surrounded by full of problems. Okay, you see, these honeybees are representing the small problems which comes in our life. Okay, small problems which comes in our life. Big problems are also there in form of the snakes. Okay, then another big problem is the day and night. These mice is one. This white mice is the day and this black is the night. So the mice are there, or the day or night are there, which are continuously reducing our life. So our lifeline, this branch is our lifeline. It is getting reduced continuously by day and night. Day and night, it is continuously getting reduced. And ultimately, this big problem, that is that this this mad elephant represents the death. Ultimately, whatever happens, this elephant is going to kill us. This is the problem is there. Okay, so these are the problem. We are full surrounded by a problem. Everywhere there is problem, but when there is small pleasure or small happiness is there in form of honey, we forget every problem. We tend to forget every problem. But these are problems are there. These problems are there, but we tend to forget the problem when we're tasting the honey. Okay, even Lord is there in front of us. He is telling, okay, come back to me. I'm here to help you. I will take you out from this Mritu Sansara Sagar. But we are not paying attention. We are just engaging ourselves in the tasting of the honey. Okay, that is the condition of our life. Problems are there. Some problems are temporary problems. Some problems are real problems. Real problems. Okay, so that problems we'll discuss now. So this is the jiva in the material world. Though we are surrounded by many difficulties, though we are surrounded by every difficulty in this life, but we are focusing on the small pleasure which are there, and we are not paying attention to the Supreme.
Okay. Alka Upadhyam Mataji adds, person is enjoying worldly pleasure as honey and not holding the Krishna's hand.
Yes, same thing. Okay, so that is the problem of ours in this material world. We are just engaging ourselves on the honey part. Okay, the very senior devotee described that this the pleasure in this material world is like tasting the honey on the blade, on the tip of the blade. Okay, so tip of the blade, you put some honey and try to taste. Okay, it will be bleeding, but actually we are happy in that. So that is the thing. Taste any happiness, we are running after the happiness of the material enjoyment, but that happiness turn out to be the misery. Okay, that is the thing. So actually the problems are there, and these are the two problems. The problems are divided into two parts. One is called real problem, and second is called temporary. Real problem is birth, death, old age, and disease. Every person has to suffer this. Every person who has this material body has to have birth, death, old age, and disease. That is the real problem. Okay. Some people will have temporary problems. Some people will have problem of food, shelter, clothing, money problem. Some people will have money problem also. Okay. So the two types of problem is there, the real problems and temporary problems. Okay. Like the problems we describe in the picture. These are the problem. These are the real problem. The birth, death, old age, and disease. Okay. And we cannot do anything of these problems. Krishna is already supplying everything. Temporary problem. You see money, clothing, shelter, food. Okay. Krishna is already supplying. We just have to surrender to Krishna. That's it. Now, about the soul and part to 19, we are going to see. So, distinction is described in 13 to 19 sloka, and we have made a very beautiful table so that we can understand what is the distinction between soul and the super soul. Okay. So, first point, living entities are known as Jivatma, and super soul is maintained as Paramatma. That is clear. Second point, individual knower of own body. The soul is knowing just about his own body. Do we know completely about our body? No, we don't know completely about our body. We know, yes, the soul knows about this body, but that too soul doesn't know fully about this body. How we are eating, that we know, but after eating, what is happening to the food, how it is going down, how it is going to be digested, how it is going to be absorbed, assimilated, and every organ is getting the nutrition, how it is happening, we don't know. So yes, we are knower of this body, but we are actually not the full knower of this body. We are the partial knower. Okay. But you see the super soul knows everything about this body, and not about this body, every other body which is there. Okay. So the super soul is knower of everyone and everything about this body. Okay. So that is the difference between soul and super soul. We are also knower, but we are partial knower. Super soul is the knower, full knower, as well as every other people which is there in this universe or anywhere he knows about everything. Then soul is the secondary proprietor of one body. We are not the original owner of this body. This body has been given to us by the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord is the supreme owner of this body. We are the secondary owner. If this body has been given to us by the Supreme, we are secondary owner, but the Krishna is the primary owner. Okay. So the soul is secondary proprietor of one body, but supreme proprietor of all the body is super soul. Then soul is the secondary controller of the senses, secondary controller, but the Supreme Lord is the primary controller of all the senses. We are not controller of our body. You see, we can control, but partially. If you want to lift this hand, okay, we can lift. If you want to smile, we can smile. Okay. But only few things we can do with this body. How our heart is pumping blood, we don't know. Okay, we cannot control that. If we would have been controlling that, how the people are getting hypertension? Why the people are getting hypertension? Why the people are having diabetes, many diseases? That means we are not controlling the body. Something else is there which is controlling the body. Okay. So actually we are not the primary controller. We are secondary controller, that too partial. But Krishna is the supreme controller of everything, every body, every senses. Okay. Yes. Now the next point is Sachidanand. The soul's nature is Sachidanand, same as the super soul. You see here, Sachidanand, 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 both points are equal. So soul is Sachidanand, super soul is Sachidanand. That means quality wise, soul and super soul is equal, quality wise. But the quantity wise, soul is very small, super soul is very like soul is Anu, super soul is Vibhu. Vibhu means Ananta. Anu means very small. Okay. So quality wise, we are similar to the super soul, but quantity wise, very, very different. Okay. Then soul controlled by the material nature. We are under the Maya. We are controlled by the Maya, but super soul is controller of Maya or the material nature. Okay. There are innumerable living entities. So many living entities are there. The souls are so many, innumerable souls are there. But super soul, although he resides in everyone, he is only one. So many living entities there, in every living entity there is super soul. That doesn't mean that soul is many. The super souls are many. No. Super soul, though it looks like in everyone, but he is one only. Actually, he is one only. That is the thing. Okay. So although he resides in everyone, he is only one. Soul is anu, very, very small. The dimension is 1 upon 10,000 part of the tip of the hair. But super soul is vibhu, infinite. Okay. And soul is subordinate. Super soul is supreme master. Okay. So that is the difference between the soul and the super soul, object and the goal of the knowledge. Last part, enjoyer and the jnana chakshu. Okay. So Purusha, Prakriti and their union. The material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformation and modes of matter are product of material nature. It is beginningless, eternal. This material nature is also eternal, the living entity is also eternal. Okay. So both are eternal. Okay. Their transformation and the modes of matter are product of material nature. The transformation. The material nature always transform. Okay. Some other part it will transform. Okay. Like that. The jiva in this material world, both the material nature and living entities are eternal. Lord is the supreme Purusha, but jiva is trying to lord over his position, this position in his material world. That is why we are in this material world. Okay, we wanted to lord over. We were in the spiritual world, but we wanted to lord over. Okay, that's why we came here. We have been sent by the Lord to this material world. Okay, you go and lord over the material world. Okay, so that is the Lord is the supreme Purusha, but jiva is trying to lord over the position in this material world. Now, next point is very important. Nothing happens by chance. As the cause and effect are both handled by the material nature, example, COVID. Okay. So nothing happens by chance. It is not like that this big universe is there and everything is happening by chance. Something happens by chance. No. Whatever things happen, it happens because of certain cause. For every effect, there is cause. Okay. Even science says that for any effect, there should be a cause. And this world also, the Prakriti also, for every effect, there is cause. That is the law of karma. Whatever we do, we get the result. Okay. And that is perfect. It doesn't mean that anyone suffering. The suffering is the Lord has given his randomly the sufferings. No, it is not like that. Whatever sufferings we have, that is due to our karma only. If I am suffering today, this is due to my karma. If I am happy today, this is due to my karma. Whatever things I'm having today, that is due to because of our karma. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing is random in this material world. Okay, everything is organized. For every cause, for every effect, there must be a cause. Okay, so that is the thing. Certain people, they ask, why do bad things happen to good people? Very frequently asked question. Many people will ask you, why do bad things happen to good people? I do not believe in Lord. I do not believe in God because I am a very nice person, but bad things are only happening to me. Why God is giving so many bad reactions to me? I'm not doing any bad thing. So Lord doesn't have envy on you. Okay, Lord is neutral. He says, Krishna says, I am neutral. I envy no one. Na me dvesho, na priyas. I envy no one. I am not partial to anyone. I am neutral. Whatever you do, you will get the result. Okay, so that is the thing. But we forget what we have done. Okay, because maybe in previous life, maybe previous to previous life, okay, we have done certain bad things. We are getting the bad result. Okay, that is the thing. Certain times we don't realize that we are doing the bad things because of our ignorance, and we do the bad things. Okay. So, do we have really freedom here? Are we really enjoying here? No. This world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. We are only suffering here. There is only suffering here. That happiness also come. That the distress will come in the form of happiness. You will feel that okay, this is happiness, but actually there is distress only. Just like the honey on the tip of the blade, sharpness of the blade. If you're touching, okay, that happiness will be there, but that will cut our tongue also. Okay, so that is the thing. So actually, we are thinking that we are enjoying because of this material natures. You see, elements of material natures are there. 13 Purusha Prakriti Asto Hi Bhute Prakriti Jangunan Karanam Guna Sango Asya Ashadyo Janmashu. The living entity in material nature, thus the ways of life, enjoy the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Due to our association with the material nature, we tend to do good things, bad things, okay, and we do meet with good and evil among various species, okay. So actually, when jiva comes, so like the material nature is like the webs, okay. The spider web is there. So spider web is there, material nature, okay. So this is like unmanifested now. No movement is there. That's steady, okay. Jiva is like fly. So the jiva is coming touch. Once associated, the jiva is now entangled in the web. Okay. So this material nature entangles the jiva. Okay. So actually now the jiva is not independent. That jiva is now not independent. Okay. So jiva is under the control of the material nature now. Okay. So that is the association. When jiva, when living entity associate with the material nature, the jiva become entangled with the material nature. Okay, now the material nature is controlling the jiva. You see, so the jiva in this material world is dependent. Living entity is the cause of material suffering and enjoyment. Living entity, the only thing he does is desire. And that desire is the main cause of suffering or enjoyment. Okay. Then what is the function? So the soul part was there. Okay, so soul was entangled in the material nature. What about super soul? So function of super soul. Okay. Upadishtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti chapi yukto dehe yasmin purushah paraha. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor who exists as the overseer and permitter and who is known as the super soul. So in this material world, we have this body, and inside this body, there are two things are there. One is soul and another is super soul. Soul, we have learned like that. Soul is entangled in this material body, and only thing that soul can do is desire. Now the super soul, what is the function of super soul? So super soul is here, who is like who is the supreme proprietor of this body. This body is supreme proprietor, super soul. Then overseer, he is observing everything. Very minutely, he is observing everything. Whatever we are doing, he is observing. Whatever we are thinking, that also he is observing. So everything he is observing. Whatever we are desiring, he is observing. Okay, the super soul is overseer. He is observing everything. And then he is permitter. He sanctions. Whatever desires we have, he will sanction according to whatever karma we have done. So according to our desires and karma, he will sanction. So he is a permitter. Okay. So what is the function of super soul is? He is overseer, he is permitter, and he is supreme enjoyer. Okay. Sometimes we tend to do some sinful activity and we think that, okay, government is not punishing us. Maybe government is not seeing us. That's why government is not punishing us. Okay. But thing is, super soul is observing. Not only whatever things we are doing, even whatever thinking, that is also being observed by the super soul. So we cannot escape that law of universe. We cannot escape this law of nature. We cannot escape the supreme soul. Okay. Whatever we are doing, we'll be getting the reactions. Okay. So you see, very nice example is there of how the soul and super soul is there in this body. It is compared to a tree, and in the tree one branch is there, and in the branch there are two birds are there. Two birds are there, and one bird is just trying to enjoy the fruits. Sometimes, you see this picture, this one. This bird is trying to eat these fruits. Sometimes Certain sweet fruits will be there, sometimes certain sour fruit, bitter fruit, different types of fruits are there in this plant, in this tree. And this bird sitting on this branch is engaging himself in the eating of these fruits, in tasting of the fruits. One another bird is there. What this bird is doing? Nothing. Just observing, overseer. He just observing this bird, what this bird is doing. He's trying to stop sometimes. Okay, stop. This bird is not listening only. Okay. He's trying to guide. He's not listening only. Okay. But he's waiting for this bird to look towards him. Okay. So the super soul is also there. So this bird is like Krishna in our heart, like super soul, and this bird is like Jiva, who is trying to enjoy this material nature. Okay. Krishna is waiting for us. Okay. We should pay attention towards Krishna. But we are enjoying the material fruits only. We are not paying attention to Krishna. So that is the soul and super soul part. So three doers we have already seen that there are three doers are there. One is soul, one is super soul, and third is the material nature. When Jiva, the soul, comes into the material nature, comes in contact with the material nature, Jiva is now entangled. Now, what Jiva can do is desires. Only thing Jiva is doing is desire. Why he can do the desire? Because he has free will. Minute independence of free will is there. And using his free will, he can desire the things. And the super soul is there, who is overseer and permitter. He sees everything, he is observing everything. And he's permitting, he's sanctioning whatever desires we are doing based on our desires and karma. And this material nature carries out the actions to suit the desire. Okay? So that we have already understood. Cycle of birth and death, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. So actually, all these things, all the material nature and this Jiva, when Jiva comes into contact, the body is there. And when body is there, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi will happen. This is the real problem, if you remember. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is the real problem of our body. Okay. One who understands this philosophy concerning the material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of mode of nature is sure to attain liberation. One who understands this philosophy, material nature, living entity, super soul, mode of nature, is sure to attain liberation. So one word is coming, mode of nature. At different times, mode this word has come, but these now the Krishna will be describing the modes of nature in great details. That's why these words are coming again. The modes of nature. Okay, one who understands the philosophy of material nature, the living entity, the interactions of the mode, is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth again here, regardless of his present position. We have to understand this philosophy. We have to understand our position, Krishna's position, this material nature position, how we are entangled in this material nature. Okay. So this Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is there. We need to attain liberation by understanding this philosophy. And how we can make this cycle disappear? There is only one answer, and that answer is surrendering to Krishna. Okay. Surrendering to Krishna. So the true seer, how we can make this birth and cycle disappear? The true seer, the person who sees truly, who is the actual seer. Okay. So you see, samam sarveshu bhutesu tishthantam parameshwaram vinashyatsav avinasyantam yas pashyati sa pashyati. One who sees that super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and one who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible bodies ever destroy, actually sees. So this material body is there, and inside the material body there is soul and super soul. Even the body is not going to be destroyed, and in every body this soul and soul is there. That is the true seer. He sees that what is actually the person is having. He sees that everyone is equal. Why? Because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna only. Everyone is part and parcel of Parmeshwar only. And Parmeshwar is there inside everyone's heart. He sees that actually that everyone is equal. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with body, situated in that body. Very nice. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Okay. So video is still loading. Okay, so Krishna was giving the example of the true seer. Okay, so he was saying that the sky does not mix. So he was giving the example to understand as the true seers. Okay, still loading. Okay. So Krishna is giving the example of the sky and the clouds. So you see, the sky doesn't mix with the cloud. Cloud and sky, though the clouds are there in the sky, the cloud is different, the sky is different. They do not mix. Okay. Similarly, Krishna is giving the example of this. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, although situated. Okay. So the soul doesn't mix with the body, just like the cloud is there in the sky, and the cloud and sky doesn't mix. Okay, so that is one example Krishna is giving. Second example, Krishna says, O son of Bharat, as the sun illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Just like one sun is there, it is illuminating all the planetary systems. So many planets are there, and one sun can illuminate all the planetary systems. Similarly, the soul, how much small soul is there? Even the tip, 10,000 part of the tip of the hair, and which is there inside the body, and it is illuminating the whole body by consciousness. That's a small thing, and it's illuminating whole body by consciousness. Okay, so you see the example. Two examples Krishna is giving to understand the true seers. One, a person who knows that he is not this body, his soul. He will be situated in the body, but he won't be mixing with the body. Just like the clouds are there, which are there in the sky. Second example, he's giving the just like the sun is there, small sun is there. It is illuminating all the planets, all the planetary system. The soul situated in the body illuminates all over the body. Okay, small soul, but illuminating full body. Krishna is giving. Then Kshetra Kshetrajnanyorevam Antaram Jnana Chakshusha Bhuta Prakritim Moksham Cha Ye Viduryanti Te Param. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in this material nature, can attain the supreme goal. Okay. So we have to understand that difference between the elements which Arjuna asked. Okay, what were 6 questions Arjuna asked? Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragya, Gyan, and Gayam. So these 6 things Arjuna asked. Okay, so that was the thing we have learned. The summary. Okay, the summary is not here. Okay, one summary. So let's summarize the chapters what we have learned. We started with wise question. Arjuna was asking 6 questions. What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? Prakriti is ever-changing material nature. Purusha is the jiva who is trying to enjoy this prakriti. Kshetra, this body is called Kshetra. Kshetragya, the soul is the Kshetragya, knower of this Kshetra, and super soul is also knower of this Kshetragya. And last is Gyan and Gayam. So Gyan, we know that knowledge about the Kshetra and Kshetragya is called Gyan. 20 elements are there. And Gayam is the soul and the super soul, about soul and super soul, which we have learned in difference. Items of knowledge, 20 items of knowledge were there, and out of that, 2 were most important. One is the unalloyed devotion service. Second is surrendering to a spiritual master. Third is the soul and super soul. The distinction between soul and super soul we have learned through a tabular form. Soul is there, which is part and parcel of super soul. Soul is the secondary controller of this body. Super soul is the primary controller. Soul knows only about this body, that too partial. Super soul knows every thing about this body as well as every other body which is there in this material world. Soul is Anu, super soul is Vibhu, 110,000 parts of the tip of the hair. Soul is subordinate, super soul is controller. Okay, soul is controlled by the Maya, super soul is controller of Maya. There many differences were there. We have learned in soul and super soul part. And at last, enjoyer and the Jnanachakshu, a true seer. Who is the true seer? Who knows that body is different, soul is different. He sees that everyone is having the super soul inside the body, and he sees equality in every body. Then Jnana Chakshu, a person who is in Jnana, he see that he won't be mixed with the body, just like the sky doesn't mix with the cloud. And just like the consciousness, just like the soul being, soul is very small, like 110,000 part of the tip of the hair, and it illuminates everything in the body with the consciousness. It is compared to the sun, okay, which is illuminating the every planetary system and every planet in this material world. Okay, that is what we have learned. We'll just unmute everyone so that we can chant once, and then we can take question answer session. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Krishna, Hare Ram Ram. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So we'll take question answers now. So if you have any question, please raise your hand or put in the chat box. You can take. Do we have any question?
Not yet. People have started leaving. Should we understand soul as mind or form of energy and super soul as consciousness? Snigdha Sinha Mataji asks this question.
Why to consider these things? Soul and mind as form of energy and super soul as consciousness? No, the consciousness is due to soul. Okay, super soul is something different. It is not this consciousness is due to super soul. Okay, the soul is causing the consciousness, and super soul is overseer, observer, sanctioner. Okay, supreme enjoyer. Soul as mind? No, soul is not mind. Soul is something different. Mind is different. The minute The body, a subtle body constitutes the mind. Okay, soul is the spiritual thing. Okay, mind is still material. Mind and false ego, intelligence, still material. But soul is something spiritual. Okay, we have learned the 24 items of knowledge. In that, one was mind. Mind, false ego, and intelligence were one of the component of the 24 elements of material nature. Okay, that is. And super soul is conscious? No. Super soul, consciousness is due to soul. Sudha Mataji has unmuted. Yes, Mataji, you want to ask any question?
Snigdha
Okay.
Mataji says thank you.
Yes, Mataji, thank you very much for attending the classes.
I think this group is a majority of women, Prabhuji. More than
They-
12 out of 15 present now are women, total Matajis. There is a nameless person I can't make out. Rekha Joshi Mataji asks, does the effect of the cause of actions happen in the same life or does it extend to the next life?
So it can happen.
Anytime.
In same life also, it can happen. In next life also. You can get fruits in this life also, you can get fruits in next life also. Okay. So any life, the body doesn't end our life. Just ending the body doesn't mean that our life has ended. Okay. We'll have next life, we'll have result in the next life. Okay. We can get the results even after 100 lives. Okay. So that is also possible.
No more questions as yet. जिनको ऐसे पूछना है लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, you can just raise your hands and ask your questions.
Yes, you can raise your hand and ask.
And you don't have to type it out.
Okay.
Let's.
Okay, Prabhu. We'll end the session. So we don't have any question. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Saranya Mataji, for coming and helping me out. Thank you all the devotees for attending the session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Thank you so
Prabhuji.
much.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.